appeared in Forrest Gump? Wait a minute, what?
Yeah, I was actually an extra in Forrest Gump in a few scenes. I'm back to back with Tom Hanks at the bar, and you're not supposed to look at the camera, but I was like, what'd you do?
Take two.
Okay, take two. Hey, everybody, this is Kevin McLaughlin. This is the Riffs and
Rhythms podcast, and I'm Paul Robertson. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. What's going on?
This silliness, what always going on in our show here. So
You'd think after how many episodes we finally figure out how to say that, right?
yeah, we're on top of we're on our A game, and if that is our A game, then it's a different sliding scale, I guess. So.
We need to get on the capital A game.
Yeah, we got some stuff to catch up on here, so and we'll try to go through all that real quick because we've got a real cool guest here sitting on the couch just hanging out here. But I see we have 3 glasses, so let's first kind of switch things up here. I know we usually do our little intro conversation piece or opening monologue, and then we introduce the guest. But I think we're going to introduce the guest. We're going to come back because we have 3 glasses here with ice that's melting, and we are Stolock emptyless here. We say that this bottle is got a hole in it. Of course, you all know we're joking because the hole's at the top, and it's too damn good is really what the problem is. So guess what, Kevin? So I put this under my pillow the other night.
Oh, and the Whiskey Fairy came?
And the Stolock Whiskey Fairy showed up. And he brought a bottle for us, the Stolock Whiskey Fairy. So yes, thank you, Stolock Whiskey Fairy. But you know what? She brought 2.
Oh, wow.
This is an older one. This is batch 9 from 7.
So it's got a little vintage on it. So yes.
We already drank batch 10.
So thank you, House of Wine, Beer, and Spirits, for hooking us up there. Thank you, Stolock Whiskey. Obviously, Stolock, we are big fans of it because obviously you see the empty bottles here that HWBS is providing.
We for real drink it.
We are for real, right? So we ain't playing around, okay?
So would you like to do the honors or should I?
No, you can do the honors because you yelled at me last time, taking too long because I think he was really thirsty and I was having trouble getting through the child-proof tamper seal. So, all right. So while we're doing that here, so let me go ahead and introduce our guest while you're getting that ready, and then we'll come back and forth. So we have on the podcast here. You remember we talked about our trip to Memphis back in cold-ass January, though. This was one of the members on that trip here who was the drummer for Kevin's band at the blues competition. So let's welcome to the podcast here, Mr. Dean Lopes. How you doing, Dino?
I'm well. How are you guys?
I'm doing great.
Well,
Did you thaw out after that trip?
I did thaw out. It took about a week, but yeah, it was very crunchy.
So, I'm just remembering that you literally were inspecting the insides of the walls in the attic to find out where the air leak must have been.
That's right. He was also our HVAC guy on standby there. We had problems with the heating in the house, and then we couldn't figure it out. And of course, a lot of these Airbnbs have their houses controlled by some type of remote location, so people aren't cranking up the power
digital
bill. So Dean was ready to go claw in the attic, and I think he was probably clawing into the attic to go cuddle up with some insulation maybe to keep him warm.
It was literally like 90 degrees upstairs.
Yes, I know.
60 downstairs. So my mission was get hot air down. So I ran around and got every single fan in the whole house and lined them up down the stairwell, and it slowly over days heated up the bottom.
He got it. So his ingenuity. So here's to Dean's ingenuity here. So cheers, man. So
cheers.
I think I feel better now. So now that we tore the whole studio apart.
That's good.
Or I guess I told the whole studio apart for the Key West Rum Festival. We made a whole trip down there the 2019th, anyway, the 15th, 14th, whenever we're taping this. But we took all the equipment down there to go down to Key West, have a great time, hang out, check out their spirits brands, rum. I'm getting too old for trying to do some of the things I think I can do. Two out of the 3 nights I stayed up to 4 in the morning when no one else is on Duval Street, which is meaning I must be a degenerate or something because no one else is. So I've got a whole other stories here I'll probably share maybe for the Patreon about involves some after hours things and so forth, but which was all legal by just to be the way. But yeah, so what have you been up to? Did you have a blues thing going on?
Musical history was made last night.
What was it?
Well, Paul and I shared the stage for the first time, him on drums and me on guitar.
Oh,
It was
nice.
magical.
He sat in. You've sat in with your pitch slap.
That's right. Right.
His little. He's got a laptop cajon.
Oh, neat.
It's called a pitch slap.
Pitch slap, not with a P.
With a
P,
P.
that's correct.
Yes,
P.
with a P.
And this model is because it sits in your lap. It's called the lap dance.
Well,
I did, of course. The night that I don't have it with me in my truck, but then I should have brought it. But
So last night marked the first time you played set
that's right.
while sitting here with me, and
Right.
it went well. I was happily surprised.
He's like, holy shit! He actually does know how to play a
Yeah.
little bit, right? So, thank you.
not just a pretty voice.
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks. That's all I am to you. Is just a pretty voice and nothing else. I got a face for podcasting.
Yeah,
So, yeah, well,
that
thank
was
you.
Fun. That was
Yeah.
the Treasure Coast Blues Society's every other month blues jam at Shindig's in Port St. Lucie.
Yeah, I had a fun. I realize how much because the podcast I tell people has taken over more of my life when it comes to my creative outlet. You know, that's what has filled the hole since 2020 when I was involved with a couple of music projects. And I don't get a chance to get out and play because I'm doing too much, and but I want to get back into actually performing because I think the performance part is this podcast. As being a musician, you're still performing on a podcast, like the way we kind of do it, right? So, but yeah, well, thank you there. So I appreciate the
cheers.
compliment. Yeah,
Excellent.
so
Excellent.
I played a couple tunes that I've played before with our good friend Chris Springer and Billy T. We've had him on the show, or we talk about Chris. So it's been a while since I played a couple of those songs. I've actually really enjoyed some of it. So
That was good. We
And
got all
that's-
kinds of fun stuff coming up.
And that's how you have the Drums and Rum and Drums podcast.
that's
because you're a
correct.
drummer.
That's correct. That's right. It's more than it just rhymes. It actually is a real thing.
That's great.
He's a drummer and a rummer.
A drummer and a rummer. So that's legit.
Dean could be maybe the first. No, I take that back. You're not going to be the first, but you can join a part of a list of a few select guests who could be on both of those shows. So
Yeah.
So we'll
Yeah.
get you on the Drums
Thank
and
you.
Rums podcast.
That would be great.
So if you can stay a little bit later, we'll tape a third episode after what we taped tonight. So, but yeah, what else we got going on here? What else have we been up to?
Well, we are unwrapping the details on Riffs and Rhythms Festival.
That's correct.
But before we even talk about that,
But
I
wait,
just came back from the printers, and we have posters for the Rising Star concert.
look at that! Look at that!
Yeah, Budget Graphics does a great job, and they're very inexpensive.
Okay. I really appreciate you brought actually real printed graphic of the flyer rather than me adding it digitally after when I edit all the show here.
Yeah,
So
see, that's less editing for Paul. It's here.
it's a
It's
real-
hanging here for real.
it's not Memorex.
It's not just poke the link. It's for real. So, yeah, this is going to be hopefully a very successful concert series featuring Florida original bands.
Fantastic.
And it's in a super cool spot. Arcadia, Florida has the southernmost opera house that's in operation in the United States.
Wow.
Yeah, one of very few opera houses that still exist. And they've got haunted opera house tours. They've got like the best antiquing in Florida. If you're into antiquing, you got to go.
Yeah, that's way out pretty much in the middle of the state.
Yeah,
Old Florida.
Yeah, old Florida stays around a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
Doesn't get knocked down
It's one of those
much.
downtown areas that literally has gotten bypassed by the highway, right? So you got to get off of the road to get into the downtown.
And that's what keeps it cool and
That's
old.
what keeps it cool. Yeah, cool. Yeah, exactly.
I do love the breakfast at Clock's Diner, right? That's a place there. You've seen one of those in the middle there?
Did they have a clock?
I think they do have a clock. Because I've done a lot of work trips having to go through above. So again, for those of you listening or watching and are not familiar with some of the Florida geography here that we're talking about, so Arcadia, as Kevin mentioned, is somewhere between Okeechobee.
It's to the left of the big lake.
Okeechobee,
in the middle.
Okeechobee City, the town, and Sarasota and so forth. But you've usually to go to Arcadia, you've got to drive above the lake. You know, most of the people when you're going to the west coast of Florida, you go above the lake or below the lake.
You're still on the ground.
Yeah.
Yes, we're not
around the lake.
Yeah, we don't have tunnels.
I don't have. I mean, we do live in the future, but I don't have a flying car.
Is that anywhere near Winter Haven?
No,
it's a little lower.
Little lower.
Lower. It's like if you picture the map of Florida, you can see the big lake. It's halfway between the Gulf of Mexico and Lake Okeechobee on Highway 70.
Yep.
Oh, great.
Yep. So very cool. So, Dean, are you gonna like maybe stay and sleep and do like a Ghost Adventures in the Opera House?
That could be. I like it.
That's right. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, it's way cool.
So well, cool. So coming up here quick before the Riffs and Rhythms Fest, though, right?
This will be October 11th.
Okay, there you go.
It will be I think it'll be the last show before I go up to Biketoberfest and play that run.
So it's going to be very similar to the November.
Similar, yeah. As a matter of fact, it is going to be similar. We've even got Jason Montero. Do you know Jason?
I know him.
He's going to be doing his solo acoustic act as part of this.
Oh, perfect.
Concert.
So who do you have lined up for? Now this is monthly, right?
Yes. Okay. So far, this is the only lineup that we've got.
Okay.
And I've got myself booked again as on the second one.
Okay.
But that was for lack of having found someone. Maybe Dean will play it instead.
Oh.
Well, let's see.
Well, he was we could talk about here, and we'll just jump right to it. Was very excited to hear we have our own original music festival coming up here, and our guest here, Dean, is going to be one of the artists on the venue there. So, but you know what? Look, as we get into this,
hold on just a second.
Okay, sorry.
I think you're actually the first guest we've ever had that can play riffs and can play rhythm. Because Dean is known as a drummer.
That's true.
Yeah, one of the top call drummers around. But last show that I was on with you, you played guitar.
Yeah, I love dabbling in guitar. It's a hobby of mine. I've been doing that for many years. It's not easy, but I like it as a hobby. And it's hard to find events that you can just play originals at. So I was very excited to hear about this. I actually heard about it from Jason because I played drums with him in his trio. So he said, hey, we're doing this original gig November 23rd. And I said, oh, what's it? Yeah, Kevin McLaughlin putting it on. And I said, well, wait a minute. I said, okay, thank you. Mm-hmm. And the very next thing is texting Kevin, I need to get in on this.
Yeah.
Because it's very limited. So you can do, rock originals. So any chance I can get to get out front and play guitar a little bit, it's fun. And I can sing, sing my songs.
No,
so. What is the name of the project?
It most likely be just Dean Lopes Band. Sometimes we go by Dean Machine. So I'll probably do Dean Machine.
Oh, and you're going to sing and play guitar with this Dean Machine.
Yep. I have several songs that are in the rock kind of simple rock vein. And I have other songs too, little jazzy instrumentals, but those are a little bit more difficult. So that's why I was kind of excited to do this, because these are just straight ahead, guitar rock songs, and it's a little easier for me to get up there and push it through. Every now and then, if there's an event, maybe some kind of benefit for someone, let's say, or memorial,
right.
We'll all pull together and sometimes I'll get up and do a song or so, but this is great. I can really, get out there and do a whole 40-minute set. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's got a lineup of 8 or 9 bands depending on how it falls.
Yeah, that's great.
And there'll be a new act every hour, all day.
Yeah.
And different genres, different styles. You've got some soloists, you've got rock bands, you got a little bit of a reggae vibe bands, you've got some metal bands,
nice
bands that are coming from outside of the Treasure Coast area, which is really cool, right? I mean, I think that kind of helps, gives us
Red Calling, right?
Gives us and a little bit of legitimacy is what we're trying to promote is Florida original music, not just of course Treasure Coast is for and foremost the South Florida area, but Florida, right? And having Red Calling come from Tampa is okay, this is really cool, right? How to kind of grow this and so forth. So
yeah, and I heard you say earlier that the response has been, fantastic. Most times we go out, local tiki bar, the restaurant, and we see the bands, and we love to, hear the classic rock songs and have fun and just get together. But when there's a call out for originals, I was surprised to hear that there's the response was was overwhelming. So that makes me happy to see.
It's like you said, you make the calling and everyone comes out of the woodwork. Like,
Yeah.
what? I can play my own music? What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
Right. So
that's what it's all about for me.
yeah, thank you for doing this.
I
It's
mean, you can make money playing other people's music, and it's a good thing.
great. Oh yeah.
But there is nothing like playing your own songs on stage and people.
And the Blues Society does a great job of that. You guys and a lot of the local, Hawk and Denny. The blues is a good, solid start. But that's one of the only, places. It's not really, good to have a place that's just more expansive musically, than just the blues. Blues nights where you can hear originals. So
Right.
that's why it's even, more special. Like you said, you can get metal, you can get reggae, you can get just regular rock, and then the blues is also in there. So
I have a feeling, it's going to be one of those day of, I'm looking at Tracy, she's a big part of this as well too, behind the scenes, keeping us in line and making sure shit gets done. And I think it's going to be day of, Kevin. It's going to be, I know you guys have done the day out of the Time Fest, so I wasn't actively as a big part of it as you guys were, putting together and all the crazy and stress and so forth. But I think, when we get there that day, I'm going to be like, holy shit, the day is here. And this is
it's going to be too late to start stressing about it then.
no, I think it's going to be like one of those the musicians will be like, all right, it's another gig. I mean, it's more than just another gig, I imagine, for everybody who's going to perform because, like you said, it's an original set. You're like, shit, I actually get to play my own stuff on a stage, legit sound system.
For real, we've got Thunderhouse Sound doing sound.
oh,
We're
nice.
going to have a full concert sound and lighting system up there.
Very nice.
And in between the bands, we're going to be doing the Riffs and Rhythms podcast.
Oh, great.
So, I thought maybe we could do like an all-day marathon podcast and include all the bands in it.
Yeah, having to come up and do a little bit of.
Well, no, like film their show.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, let's do a full, get some good video footage for everybody.
Well,
and, yeah.
you know what, though? You're going to need more than 2 bottles.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah,
And we're going to need
yeah.
more than 2 memory cards as well. We're going to need to have that 10 terabyte drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
8 hours.
8 hours.
Camera shoot.
Yeah, we got to make sure we're. The good thing, at least about that camera, is it does have a dual memory card slot. So, which is actually, I'm not sure how it works if it stops and starts and so forth. But yeah, looking very forward to it. So, I can't wait to see you, Dean. I haven't heard any of your music yet, so I'm looking forward to it. Again, we've spent some time, like we said, in Memphis hanging out, so really cool.
Yeah.
And then we'll definitely get you on the Riffs and Rhythms show. But you know what? I want to tell you, I'm going to say, you know Dean more than I do, Kevin. But let me tell you guys, okay? Our guest has stepped it up. We have not had a guest yet provide us a resume, or what do they call it? What's the Latin term for the term for resume?
In Latin, it's resume.
Resume.
I think it stands for something else. But anyway, so let's go through this. Let's go kind of.
Right? That's correct, isn't it?
No, I think there's some other. Well, again, if we'll have to
Bio.
Yeah,
Bio, that's it. That's the word he was looking for.
Here,
Bio.
Hey,
Hey, oh, it's my bio.
In Latin, that's bio.
Bio.
hey, I printed out my LinkedIn page for you to look at. So for those that get LinkedIn, but all right. So just looking at this here, the background, the credentials, etc. Here, this
Dean is like a legit rock star.
all right. Let me just read through this real quick, right? So we had Dean Lopes, right? Drummer, songwriter, producer. Education, Berkeley College of Music in
I
Boston.
didn't know that about you. You went to what year did you go to Berkeley?
78 through 80.
Did you get your piece of paper?
No, I left a little earlier because we were on the road.
It's one of the few schools where if you do get your piece of paper,
Yeah.
you've actually failed.
Hey, right. That's kind of how we were, viewed it.
Yeah,
back then. My classmates were Steve Vai, Stu Hamm,
All right, you don't have to name
Amy,
drop.
Amy, man. I know.
No kidding.
Amy, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm looking here is sessions with Steve Vai. Some of the names here, at least I've recognized here. Stu Hamm, you said. Spaz McGordy.
Philip Baino is actually a place based with Satriani and Steve Vai.
Oh, wow.
And he's a really great guy. He actually played with some Rolling Stones too, as well, fill-in dates. great bass player.
So okay, so you've toured with, and I remember this because we were all made to watch the video on YouTube at the house in Memphis was the Tubes.
Oh yeah,
So
favorite band in the world.
so going through. So again, here today before the show, Dean was showing us a little clip of a show that his music was featured on, and was what was it?
Huff with Hank
Azaria.
Hank Azaria.
And so you definitely got to check it out. And when did that show come out? How long ago was that?
It was in the 90s.
Okay, so
yeah, or maybe
late 90s or
early
2000s.
2000. Yeah, I think it was maybe 2000s. And back then it was hard to get copies of these things. So this guy in Dallas, we went out to do some sessions in Dallas, and he said, "Oh, it's my favorite show. I have all of the seasons." So he gave it to me on a DVD, and we sat there and watched through, episode after episode. And the last episode pops that scene. And I was practically sleeping on the couch, but you could tell it was a fun scene. It woke me right up.
I can see why.
Yeah, it was classic. Probably the best scene in the whole series.
So that's all. That's so how does something like that as an musician, publisher, songwriter, etc. That song, how did that end up on that show?
So
And how much money you made from it, right?
yeah, very little. But so there's companies that gather songs from different places, artists, and they package them together and sell them on. I don't know if you ever heard of Taxi. There's some places like that, but this was a legitimate place. It was called Tune Edge. Brandon Diamore put this together, and it was an old manager that I had was his partner. They all moved out to L.A., and then I had gone out there, so reconnected with them. He starts this library, and he gathers. It was a little hard to get in, but I finally convinced him that I've got some stuff. So it was actually because, well, I got to tell this story to tell that story. I had got fired from my great job in West Hollywood, working for a big management company, and I had to go to this place and deliver sandwiches with the cooler, drag the cooler into all these buildings and open it up, and they would have these prepackaged sandwiches from this restaurant. I hated that job until I realized, wow, my route was Entertainment Tonight, the Joe Bet Music, which is like Motown building. I'm in all these buildings, and I'm like, you idiot. Look where you're standing. No one can just walk through this door. I mean, the security everywhere. But I'm sitting in here with Entertainment Tonight, and they're buying my sandwiches. So I finally played my cards right, waited a little bit till I hooked up with the music guy, gave them some songs. They wanted to use some on Entertainment Tonight. So then my friends finally woke up and go, "Oh, I guess you're legit." And I said, "I told you." Right. So now they wanted, some stuff. So we went in and did a bunch of tracks. So that's how, they sell them to the different music directors, have drawers and drawers of stuff. I mean, literally this one guy back then, when it was in physical drawers, now it's like, in the cloud, but literally drawers and drawers of different songs and artists. So for him to go, "Oh yeah, I want to use Dean Lopes number 12 from this thing for that scene," is is amazing that, that got in there. So I was excited.
So so that's a little, again, at the story of hustling, right?
Yeah, just kind of
gotta
hustle it and worked it. So that was a lot of fun. So from the worst job I thought was my worst job ever, turned into a good opportunity.
Right place, right time.
Right time, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
Well, good job.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
So you definitely got to check out the scene there. So Dean showed us before the show. It was definitely the song was fitting the music.
It was a song called "Eat My Sandwich."
Yes. And all I said to him was like, "Oh, I didn't know you wrote stripper music." So
Yeah, it kind of is a little stripper scene, which is classic. So
so music is available on all locations there, all the top places there,
Yeah.
Amazon, etc. Appeared in Forrest Gump. Wait a minute, what?
yeah, I was actually an extra in Forrest Gump in a few scenes.
Oh, that's cool.
So that story is we signed up for the agency where you're an extra, and you go and they paid. It was very little money. You paid and you got to go to be the people in the background. So this was one of the last things I was doing. It was Tom Hanks. So we're like, okay, we're going to go to this thing. But Tom Hanks, known for comedy. So we're in this movie and we're looking at these scenes and he's got the short military hair and none of it is like funny in a way like you would think Tom Hanks, haha, jokey, jokey. So we're like, this kind of stinks. Let's just go back to the cafeteria and sit down. It was cold outside. So we were trying to hide really to just get paid and go home. But they kept they kept calling up. We need more people for this bar scene. All right, let's go. We're bored. It's like 2:00 in the morning. Let's just do something. So we go, and my job was first. The bar scene was downstairs, so there was these little windows that went to the sidewalk. So they wanted feet walking by to make it look like it was busy. So okay, my job here. They paired you up with a girl, walk like as a couple back and forth down the street. So the next thing, you did that a few times, and then they get a call on the mic. Okay, we need more people down in the bar. Okay, 10-4. Okay, you 6, go down in the bar. Okay, so now we're in the bar, and they're shooting. Okay, next, no, we need more people. Need more people closer to the actors. Okay, all right, you 6, get over here, come close. Okay, you stand here, you stand here. I'm back to back with Tom Hanks at the bar. And I'm like, oh my God, like a minute ago I was trying to hide. And now I'm like sitting, and you're not supposed to look at the camera. But I was like, what'd you do? So the scene is the ball drops when they're in the bar, New Year's Eve. The hookers come running in. They come right by me, like pretty much hug me to get to Tom Hanks. And you can barely see, because it happens so fast, you can, almost just see the side of me. And but that was a great scene, one of the classic scenes. And then there was another one where we had to come out of a liquor store and walk up the street when they were coming down in the.
Did they film that in New York? Because that was what it was supposed to be. Was the scene?
No, it was downtown Los Angeles. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. So
yeah, those scenes were downtown.
So I'm gonna have to try to make sure I can see what a 30-year-old Dean looked like, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So that's great. Look at that. I mean, this is all right, guys. So Dean has just stepped it up here. Okay, I want you guys to bring your resume with us because it gives us something now to kind of.
Yeah, some talking points.
Exactly.
Most resumes would be a little thinner than this one, though. This
As a musician, right?
You got to add the Kevin McLaughlin band on this.
Oh yeah.
Oh, here.
This is outdated.
Sorry.
Resume.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, there you go.
It is. It is a little. I
I'm
had
writing my own name on his resume.
I had to do it. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Yeah, just pencil yourself right in there.
So Dean. So all right. So this is awesome. Again, you've got a lot going on, and you've got a lot of stories. But let's go before we get back into our one of our segments called Tales from the Road.
He's played on the Queen Mary.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the boat.
The boat. Yeah, well, I wouldn't think. I'd assume the Queen would not want you on her playing.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's usually frowned upon.
Yeah.
That's
great. Reserved for the king.
Those are great gigs. It was actually a couple. I think one of them was a New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Or Christmas Eve. It was a holiday.
Where is
gig.
that? That's more to Long Beach, right?
Yeah, it was down in Long Beach. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Okay. So yeah, Sunset Strip Clubs.
Graham Parsons, look at that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's why I was asking about
Sunset Strip Clubs. Now wait.
Too many to mention.
Was that like at dusk you were in strip clubs, or is that the Sunset Strip?
The Sunset
has clubs
Strip.
on it?
Mm.
It's not like Sunset brand strip clubs.
No, Kevin. I want to know more about the Western Idaho State Fair, right? Because that sounds like a fucking.
Oh my God! With a disco band.
Oh, do tell. All right, let's hear, man.
All right, so I'm playing with the Booty Shakers.
Okay.
That was the name of the band?
Yeah, a Los Angeles-based disco band. We had the big wigs, the white bell-bottom pants.
Please tell me there's photos.
Yeah, big. There are. It's great. Excellent musicians. The drummer from one of the bass players from Detective, and Paul Maselli. What's the reggae band that does Dred Zeppelin?
Oh yeah.
So the drummer from Dred Zeppelin, he played guitar. So he put this band together, and so we do a lot of gigs in Los Angeles, and it's a lot of fun. Just a fun band. So he gets this little tour, California State Fair, a couple of other local gigs, and then over to the Western Idaho State Fair. So we show up. Place is huge. We come after like a Zydeco country, boots, hats, and these are all farm. I mean, it's similar. At that time, I really didn't know much about Florida, but it's like, mid-Florida. It's, these people are working. They're out and they got horses and they're tending, they're out there.
Just colder.
That's what the state fair is all about, man.
Yeah, it is. It's good old down home folks. And this place was huge. Nice stage. We come out and we're like, oh, we got to follow this band. They're going to just hate us. We come out, we start doing down, boogie, oogie, oogie. And they're standing there looking like, are you kidding me? We can just see them. They're like, what? Luckily, by the second song, a couple of ladies come out, girls, they start dancing because the beats were good. The songs, they start dancing. We're like, oh, thank God. There's at least 6 girls out dancing. Then, of course, the guys come out to dance with the girls. The rest of them were like, well, if they're out there, they saw, we were a good band, so we had it. And by the 4th or 5th song, the place starts filling. By the end of the set, we had them. They were going nuts. But at first, we were like, oh, this ain't going to fly.
It sounds like you ain't from around here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
You ain't from around.
Guys showed up with elevator shoes and
Oh, yeah, totally.
sparkle leotards on and everything.
Oh, it was funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was like Spinal Tap,
So
Just
like
dead.
what Steel Panther is to 80s metal, you guys were that to the disco.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny.
So all right. So I know we've kind of been like all over the place again because we've talked through your resume here and some of the points in between. But let's kind of come back here. So how'd you get into music, right? Because obviously I'm dying to ask you a question. I'm going to wait to ask you, but so you can stew on this for a bit. Is saying since you play guitar and drums in different projects. Which is the preference? I think I know which one it is, but we're gonna. Well, I'm not want to.
Okay.
Hold it. Right. So, but yeah. So let's go back here. So how did Little Dean get into music?
My father played bugle in a drum and bugle corps, competitive drum corps, big groups, 100+ people, and they compete together in this big circuit. Kind of started up in the Northeast with CYO, Christian, organizations, and it blossomed over the years. It was really big in the 60s, 70s. Now there's junior drum and bugle corps. They really don't have one down here. I think there's one in Orlando. But it was very big up in the Northeast in New England where we were from. So he had been doing that at a young age. So it was just part of our family. We would go on weekends to see him play and compete. And that was it. I had to follow his deal. So really, it was, I think, from my mother being pregnant and the drums, coming in, really, I don't think the trumpets could get through that. I think it was more the drums could get through.
Right.
So I just came out and I was like, drums, cool. And so 3-4 years old, I'm banging on pots and pans, like maybe a lot of kids do. But that was my goal, was to join these drum corps. So I went through high school marching band and finally got a chance to be in that unit.
Right. So why did you go to Berkeley over like something like a university in North Texas?
Well, I used to get the Downbeat magazines, and I really liked the kind of jazz fusion, and all my heroes at that time were this Berkeley thing. Mm-hmm. So, and also I learned that, most people just go to Berkeley real quick and get out. So it didn't seem like a real school. It was like, yeah, go for 2 years and everything's good.
You say you went to Berkeley and then it's on the,
yeah.
So, didn't say you finished like Kevin said, right?
Right. Yeah. So I just really signed up for a 2-year program. Right. It was just, something quick, but the biggest thing was meeting musicians from all over the world. meeting just drummer after drummer, China, Indonesia, Africa. You couldn't even speak the language, but we would all sit down in this little area where there was a walkway and then a lower seating area. So it was the drum rug because you could sit, and it was just about the right level to practice at. So all the drummers would line up there, and it was great. You could trade riffs with someone you couldn't even speak with. So it was pretty cool.
The universal
The
language.
Boylston building, right?
Yeah. It was a pretty small school at the time. Yeah. It was fun.
Where's that?
I've heard about that.
Yeah, it's on Boylston, right, not quite, just a little out of downtown Boston, a little up.
Right up the street from the Christian Science Monitor headquarters, and
And not far from the Fen,
the BSO,
which is a little garden area, and then across from that, the Fenway Park.
Okay.
So that was great.
So how'd you end up in Florida then?
Oh my word! So my mother-in-law was down here in Florida, sending me the little real estate magazines. Every time she'd send a Christmas box or a birthday box or Easter box, she would put this little magazine in there. And I'm looking through this going, man, you can live like a king. The houses were a fifth of the price, because we're in Los Angeles and the home prices are going crazy. And we were renters and we were just getting shuffled around from house to house to house. And at that time, we kind of played every club and, I thought every gig you could do in that area. And it just got tempting looking like, man, it's got palm trees. You got the big houses. You got the big yard. So we were like, let's do it, So a lot of our friends were mad that we left. But it looked nice. So.
Yeah, so you went from L.A. to St.
to
Lucie County.
No, to Hope Sound.
To Hope Sound. Oh, my God.
Okay.
The exact opposite.
It's the exact opposite.
Sprawling Hope Sound.
We were staying with our in-laws just for a month until we bought the house. And we go Hope Sound and we go by the bank. And there's like no cars in the bank. So I'm like, is this a holiday or is the bank's closed? No, you can walk in the bank and walk up to the teller. I'm like, this is weird. No glass.
Right.
This was before COVID. No glass. It's actually like you could walk right up to a person with no one around. I said, this is really weird. Usually, there's 20 people and there's always bulletproof glass in Los Angeles. So we thought it was like, closed.
So what year was this?
2002 we moved here.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I moved to Jupiter in that same time frame.
Oh, great.
But I was here a few years prior to moving into Jupiter in South Florida. But I'm sure for you was a huge culture shock.
Yeah,
it's like more of a downshift, right? Others who move to like South Florida, sometimes it's more of like it's too fast, right? Depending on where you come from. But for you being in Boston, LA, and all other points in between, it's kind of like you said, it's like, wait a minute, is this? What?
But it was refreshing in a way because just like I said, just to do anything in LA was, you're behind 20 people, even just pull up to a drive-through, 20 people, and pull up to the bank, 20 people. You just got to plan your day to something that takes 10 minutes is going to take you a half an hour, and the traffic, was insane. So we were like, wow, look at this. I could just drive around. There's like nobody here. So it was refreshing.
So now that you've been here for 20 years, do you start bitching about the traffic?
Yeah, we do. It's getting a little
I've
worse
been
than
to LA. I mean, the traffic is so bad that on the on-ramp to the freeway, there's a red light.
There's a red light. Yeah.
That's how bad.
And just to go out, like we went out to visit and went to go see my friend play. He was a house bass player at the Baked Potato.
Oh, and I've been there. That's an awesome.
Yeah, it's a great little club. But I forgot that, you've got to plan your parking. You've got to go maybe a little earlier and you have to find out, well, where can we park? And he would say, okay, you got to go back around this side, park at this place. Don't park over here. And I forgot all about it. I mean, you have to plan everything, where you park, what time you go. Some people would plan their trip on all right turns because that way you don't have to get in that left turn lane. And it's crazy. It's a little wacky.
It's what UPS does, right? They don't make any left turns. It's all right turns.
No left turn.
So Dean, obviously, as we were going through some of the, your list of, places and things and so forth. So, we got our two segments here, our House of Wine, Beer, and Spirits MVP of the week here. So, who do you have somebody who is your MVP, a shout out, somebody you want to recognize who kind of made an impact, musically for you, whether it's getting you to where you're at today or, again, somebody who you look up to and say, yeah, I really appreciate this guy or this girl, et cetera,
The first one that comes to my mind is my cousin John, John Lannon. He's up in Rhode Island, Bristol, Rhode Island, and he is about 5-6 years older than me, and he was a drummer as well. And so that age difference, he was, I'm just playing with my friends in the garage, and he was already professional doing big concerts. As though they had a super tight group, they had a great rehearsal space, so they were super pro. So I always looked up to him, and he, took me to get the first drum set. Said, no, you got to go to this drum shop. This is what you got to do. He trained me on how to do like just session gigs, like show up and just this guy's going to tell you these tempos and like society gigs. You got to show, you got to play this. Watch this guy. They're going to just call out the style. They're going to give you 1, 2, 3, 4, but you got to watch this, watch that. And I was like, wow, that's cool. So yeah, he really, plus he had all the cool records too. When I would go over, get babysat, or after school or whatever. Whatever, he always had, Three Dog Night and, tons of cool Beatles stuff, Woodstock. And he always had a drum kit set up. So I was like, can I go over to my aunt's house?
Yeah, right.
So it was always about who's got the drum kit. So he used to play his, go over there after school. And if my parents were out, it's like, okay. And other than that, I'd take my snare drum to my grandparents' house. And I'm sure they love that. The old little Portuguese.
So, a almost totally unknown fact. We've had my daughter Freya here on as a guest, and I do regular duos. She had her debut performance with a band at Dean's house.
Oh.
You guys had like some sort of costume party at your old house.
Oh, my word, Lucie. Yeah.
And Paul was playing, Paul Pelletier and Danny, and Paul invited me out, and we stuck Sarah up there, and she sang a couple of Journey tunes.
Oh my God, yeah.
And your wife Candy, she freaked out. She's like, "This is an adult party. How old is she? Get her out of here!"
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Hey, Sarah, you did a good job. We gotta go."
Yeah, right.
Adults say you gotta go.
But that was her stage debut performing with a band.
Oh, that's neat.
We crashed your party, and we sang.
That's awesome. Yeah, we had some great parties over the years.
I was gonna say, wait a minute. So, where were you? You don't remember the story?
Yeah, I know. Well, we've had so many parties. I'd have to think about. Okay, I remember Paul. I remember Dan. So it was maybe like 2012 or something like that.
I don't know, but
2010.
Everybody was hammered. It was great.
Yeah, cool. That's it.
Yeah.
They say if you remember, then you weren't really there. So.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's a good point.
Yeah, shout out to Candy because she throws a great party.
Yeah, she does. It was a good party.
So, also here before we start wrapping things up here, and we got so much more to cover here, Dean. But so if you can come back next week, we got more to cover. Are you good with that?
I am good with that.
Perfect.
Thank
you. Before we wrap up though, tonight's show do you have a Tales from the Road? Okay, this could be some crazy story. Spinal Tap fell off the stage. You ate you ate too much potato chips at the Spud Fest or whatever it was, Idaho or
Idaho State Fair.
All you can eat potato
eating contest winner.
Yeah, right. Oh my word. Well, there's a lot, and I was going to tell another one, but that just reminded me of even a different one.
Yeah, save that one. Save that other one for next week.
Yeah, I could do that one.
Okay.
So there was a similar event like this. It was a friend of mine, Brad Wilson, owned a rehearsal studio, and 100 bands would rehearse there. So he decided to have a show similar to this, where all the original bands would show up and do half an hour, and the thing started at 5 o'clock and went till like 2 a.m. at this club. And he made a deal, and he had, the drinks were 25-cent little beers,
Oh boy.
So I go there to see a friend of mine at 6 o'clock. And I'm supposed to play at, 10 or 11. Oh, my God. I wasn't paying attention to what I was drinking. And everything was great. Yeah, we're going, 8 o'clock is cool. 9 o'clock, I'm getting buzzed. 10 o'clock, I'm really ripping. I get on the stage and I'm like, oh my God, I am trashed. And literally, the fog machine was going and the lights are on and I'm playing the set and I am not going down to that floor, Tom, because I don't think I could get back up. So I stayed right here, hi-hat snare. And sure enough, I go down to the floor, Tom, and I was passed out. I got my roadie back of me holding me up. And it's just stay on the snare. And I'm like, okay. And it was just a little bit too much.
Oh my
25-cent beers.
That is hilarious.
I was gonna say is I can just see it now. You're gonna do a whole drum roll and then you roll to the floor time and right off the stage.
And my point of view was just so surreal. I mean, it was like the guitar player is 2 feet in front of me, but he seemed so far away, and the lights are coming down, and the cymbals. And it's just that floor time was just wow. And I'm like, don't go there. Because you might not get back. And it was just that surreal, everything was distorted. I don't know what they put in the beer, but it seemed
I was gonna say for it almost quarter beers. That shit. It was a few hours.
It was
a good deal on that quarter beer.
Almost like a mushroom experience.
Yeah, right. Maybe somebody I don't know feed you back then.
It could have been because it seemed a little out of the ordinary. But yeah, it was crazy fun.
Oh my God, I these Tales from the Roads keep getting better and better.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That's good.
Yeah,
to the floor top.
Yeah, it's don't go there. And I'm having this dialogue with myself. Okay, you got to do a fill. No, don't do it. Don't do it.
The little angels on the shoulders.
Don't do it. Go ahead, do it.
Yeah, hit that floor tom. You know you want to.
Yeah, you're not coming back.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
oh my God, that's
a good one.
Well, yeah, it got to the point where I walked into a NAMM show, the big music convention. So first day, come into the NAMM show. Now there's tens of thousands of people that go to this thing. I come through with my buddy. We're at this first intersection of all the buildings. There's a group of people that come in. They're from Italy or something. I don't even know where they're from. South America. They go, one guy hitting his buddy, dude, that's those crazy MFers from last year. I turn to my buddy, I go, oh, this is it. We got to stop drinking. Because, who are these people? I don't know, but they were there last year.
Your reputation preceded you.
Oh, yeah, from who knows
and
where.
not from playing the drums.
No, it wasn't. We must have been dancing on tables or something. But I turned, I said, all right, we got to mellow out now. It was, the floor tom incident, that was pretty close. So I was like, okay, let's chill.
You're that guy.
I don't want to be that guy. That's that crazy MF from last year. So in a year they were probably talking about it all year. Hey, we're gonna go back to the damn show. Maybe that guy's gonna be there. I'm like, oh crap. I'm supposed to get a reputation as a drummer, not not like Ozzy or something.
A reputation at all is a good thing, man. If people at NAMM show remember you from last year.
This one time at NAMM camp.
Right.
Oh,
anyway.
So that's perfect. That's
Yeah.
exactly what we want to hear. Those stories there. So again, with all the good fun, you survived, and
I survived.
you can look back now and laugh at these stories, right? For part of our show here. So, Dean, before we kind of again wrap up here, and then we're going to have you come back next week. What kind of upcoming shows, gigs, et cetera, your opportunity to plug some stuff? I know you've got your original music. We were talking a little bit about with the Music Fest coming up here. But, do you got any shows coming up here locally, any gigs, et cetera?
Yeah, once a month. Well, let me back up.
Yep.
All right, I'll stay there. So once a month, we do shows with Jason Montero, a lot at Taco Tiki, Max's right here in Jupiter. Maxie's
Maxie lineup.
Yeah, Maxie Food Shack. We'll do every so often there. And then there's a band called Bad Habits, which is Jason and Mikey B and myself. And we do a once a month in the Pocket, either what's called Manja or Two Georges. And we usually do that on the second Friday or third Saturday or something of the month. But other than that, my original album, Reflections in a Breeze, which is not hard rock at all. It's something that you'd put on in the jacuzzi, super mellow jazz, chill music. That's now available on all the platforms.
Okay.
So how do we find that? Is it under Dean Lopes?
Yeah, Dean Lopes, Reflections in a Breeze.
Okay. All right.
Cool. I got to check that out.
And, yeah, super mellow.
I have a feeling we may have an upcoming song that we'll have to review some of his music.
Yeah.
That's right.
We should do that.
Yeah, so we'll in the next episode here next week, so we're going to have you also review a song with us to determine if it's the riff or the rhythm that makes the song.
Oh, I like that.
Remember, I also asked you another question. I'm going to hold that to next week about guitar or drums. So we're gonna hold that for next week. But yeah, so next episode we're going to review a song. A recent guest actually that we had on that we're going to review their song. But yeah, so if you're watching this episode there, this isn't, we talked about last week, we had the Bryce Allen Band, the guys from the Bryce Allen Band on. So they just had a album release, video release. So we're going to go ahead and now review their video for their song next week. So yeah, So hang out with us, Dean.
Absolutely.
And come back next week and we'll wrap
Sounds
this.
good.
We'll wrap this sucker up. You ready there, homeboy? Yo.
I think that's the first time I've ever been called a homeboy. I don't look much like a homeboy to anybody except for him, apparently.
Yeah, we're in a gang.
That's right. So apparently this is still the Riffs and Rhythms podcast. My name is Kevin McLaughlin.
And I'm Paul Robertson. And this is The Rhythms.
Yeah. What he
Yeah,
said.
yeah.
That was smooth, Paul. Awesome.
I really appreciate you brought a drummer on this episode there to try to balance things out, man. Yeah, I know.
He's only brought one drummer on this entire show, and I brought the other one. I have to bring a drummer because he won't do it.
Okay, well, we didn't just have Bryce Allen Band. Chase was on
one. That's the one.
No, we had Renee, also from Andrew Morris.
Okay,
Band
Renee
here.
from. All right,
Yeah, again, we talked about this last episode with Bryce's.
You're ahead of me.
This stuff is a memory eraser there. Good for good times, but bad for memories.
Yeah.
So, again, thanks for tuning in tonight here. This is the Riffs and Rhythm Podcast. We're out of here. Cheers.